Extremely excited because I'm on my way now to install the first mods on the gapped GR86, and in case you missed it, we will be giving away this car at the end of its journey. And I'm super excited to announce that now we have pretty much finalized the concept of how the giveaway is going to work. There are going to be no costs, no strings attached, well, except for you have to go and register on gapped.online. You will receive an email with instructions, and then you will have to help us to promote the page, basically to share some of the pinned content on our Instagram. So comment, like, share, and this will get you an entry. And later on we'll be sharing more posts, more journeys about this car, and also about the app that we'll be developing for the track and the road. So it's going to be very exciting and take you also along this process, and there'll be more possibilities for you guys to get the entry for a giveaway of this and many other things and cars in the future. So let's get the process started. Good luck, and looking forward to be sharing this progress with you starting now. Oh yeah, get that shot, because it's a very important, very exciting video. Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Nürburgring, to be more precise, at Raider Motorsport, where we'll be installing our first mods on the gapped GR86. Now, we have ordered literally like 2 pallets full of parts that some of them have arrived, some haven't. But I actually wanted to show what you can already achieve with relatively minimal mods. So what we have here is actually a relatively small box, and to be precise, we have here Powerflex camber bolts, we have the steel braided lines, we have the brake fluid, and also brake pads. Now these parts I bought at Atomic, at our friends, and here's actually the invoice, and for all of it combined it's 417 euros. Now of course it is quite a lot of money, but I think in today's value you can get probably 10 bananas and a dozen of eggs with all the inflation and everything. But sometimes we use like brake pads that are 1,000 euro worth, or even like crazier parts. And I wanted to show what you can do actually with relatively small amount. It's not the cheapest, it's also not the most expensive parts. I think it's a very good balance between price and value that you get in return, that we will be installing here together with Raider. On top, with all the parts, we would do the alignment. So in terms of alignment, you can calculate additional 250 euros for the alignment without for this car with suspension that is not adjustable, or 500 euros with suspension that is adjustable, which we'll get later on this car. And if you go completely crazy with some sort of special laser guided system that they're using on their lap record setting cars from Manthey Racing, because at the end of the day those are the same people that work on Manthey cars, that is going to be, was it 712, I think, euros? Yeah, all of that. Now, important thing, we actually have already a first issue here. We have here the camber bolts. We had a camber bolt until I dropped it, so that's why it probably doesn't fit. No, actually we already have here one. So this is the stock one, and the camber bolt works as following. If you do not have adjustable suspensions that will allow you to add camber, you put this camber bolt, and as you can see, it's not completely round. You can twist it and it will help you to adjust the knuckle. However, we found out that it's not completely tight. It's relatively loose, and I guess it's more or less supposed to be this way, but not completely. And you had already negative experiences with that on the Yaris before, right? With other cars, that it just doesn't, it stays there, you go on the curb, and then it just falls out. Or, yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't literally fall out, don't get me wrong, but it's it then pops out of the alignment, and therefore we decided, you know what, it's better just to wait for the fully adjustable suspension that we are going to get on the car. And yeah, we're gonna leave out the camber bolts. I guess at the end of the day, you can say you get what you pay for. So 20 euros for camber bolts might sound like a good idea, but maybe you're better off just like saving your money for an actual aftermarket mod. I guess that's kind of it. Right now we are putting we will be putting the car on the scales. Is that correct? I think to check the weight, because it will be interesting to see what are the base values before we start like throwing everything out, putting some more stuff on it, etc., etc. And that's kind of it. So I guess let's get to work. Fast forward, and the car is already on the scales, and we measured the alignment, and I must say it's not the best, not the best. First of all, about the scales. Officially, when you Google the weight, it should say 1270 kilos. The car is 13. Well, it's currently being a bit influenced by the mechanics, but around 1312 with 1/3 of a tank in it. So you can add probably another 20 to 30 kilos to it. So it will be 1350. Yeah. Not great, not terrible, but most importantly, the alignment values, they are quite upsetting. So what we have currently right now, we have here the toe setting. On the front, we have front left, we have 0. On the front right, we have 1.25 degrees toe in. On the rear, we have 1 degree toe in, and rear right, we have again 0. So these two wheels, the front left and the rear right, are driving straight, and these are just going like kind of like inside. And therefore, the car is quite nervous. Now, of course, you can argue that I went on the curbs with it, on track, but we only did so far like 10 laps or so. This shouldn't be this much of a difference, because the car should be able to withstand that. When it comes to camber settings, of course, we knew it. The front is 0 pretty much, and the rear is 1.3 and 1.2. And it's something that we'll be able to influence later when the suspension arrives for it. The values that we are going to go for are on the front, we're gonna have toe out, so we'll have more direct steering when you have the toe out, and the rear we're gonna have 1 degree of toe in to make it more stable, to actually less oversteering. So yeah, I'm really excited to try out that setup, but it gives me a bit of, you know, the Toyota Supra vibes, like we had like what, 2-3 years ago by now, when we first put it on the alignment bench, and we measured actually also at Mantai or at Raider, and we saw that the values were completely all over the place, and therefore it was undrivable. And actually when we announced it, lots of Supra owners put their cars on the alignment and said like, yeah, we all have the same issue. It was, I think, one wheel was standing completely to the outside on the back and one was straight. So if you have a GR86, I highly recommend and ask you to actually put your car on the alignment. Make sure to get it straight, and also verify the values that we have today, so we are sure that the stock cars are not having the best of alignments for the track and even for the road, because you want to have the same alignment so you have the same tire wear, tire degradation. Well, degradation is more of a racing term, but yeah. All right, guys are going to now to finish the alignment settings to the new values, and then we will proceed with installing the brake upgrades. First, a couple of more notes, because the alignment is finished now, but something I want to mention about the weight. The 1270 stock is probably dry weight. We have now 1/3 of a tank, and also the window washer fluid, etc., etc. So it's not a big of a difference, but most importantly, what I want to mention is also the cross weight. So, for example, we can see on the front left wheel we have the most weight, 370 kilos. So when we put the screen here and I push onto this wheel, oh, look how much kilograms I can push. No. What I'm getting at is when you put my 90 kilos of pancakes inside, it's gonna get actually also worse. When we put more weight in the tank and the rear of fuel, it might get a bit equalized. But this is something that we can only offset with a proper suspension, with adjustable one, where you can adjust the ride height and therefore do corner weighting, exactly. But that's something that we'll do later. So for now, we have an additional driver excuse, is that the corner weighting of a stock car is not functioning properly, therefore I cannot send it, blah, 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 blah. And then on to the next upgrade, namely the brakes. We start by changing the brake lines, and the main difference is the stock are made of rubber and the aftermarket one, so to say, are from braided steel. Therefore, it has two effects. First of all, you have more consistent brake pressure because, well, rubber or steel, it's kind of obvious that rubber will expand or can even also burst, especially with older cars. It can get corroded and you can have an exploded brake line, then you have no brake pressure, then you're gonna end up in the wall. Oh, look at that, Subaru, maybe it's a BRZ after all. So that's one of the important things. You have also a better brake pedal feel, of course, and better brake control, as mentioned. So on the front and also on the rear we have it. These come, by the way, already with ABE, so basically TÜV approved, pretty much from Fischer Staplex. Look at that, with all the approval. And then we have also the Redline brake fluid, .4, so it has a higher boiling point. Therefore, you will not have the brake fading, because the stock brake fluid can get quite hot, so then you have brake fading, then you will not have the optimal brake performance. And finally, of course, also the brake pads. So we have here the stock ones. Oh, look at that, it's again a Subaru. And here we have the aftermarket ones from PFC, and to be more precise, PFC 0929.10 compound. And the stock ones actually survived quite okay-ish, but usually I notice that after, well, I wouldn't say quite okay-ish, because look at that, they're actually already almost through. And like I said, we did maybe somewhere between 10 and 15 laps in total, because all the laps you have seen me do on the channel, that's all the laps that I have done. Of course, this PFC pad will offer more braking performance, so the more initial bite, more consistency. It was also more heat resistant, so overall big durability. So this will allow me to do more than just 1.5 lap, I would say, let alone on a hot day, because now we're still in a weird spring, so to say. We even had snow yesterday still here at the Nürburgring, so we have quite cold ambient temperatures, but now the car will be definitely ready to be on track for a consistent amount of time. So the brake pads are installed, the braided steel lines, brake lines have been swapped as well, and now the last part is to make sure to bleed the brake system after we refilled with the braking fluid. This means to make sure that there is no air left in the system after, well, swapping the brake lines and refilling the system, because that's gonna cause also, well, brake fading and soft pedal, or even worse, just like completely gone brakes. That's the final stage of our today's schedule, before we actually also gonna, of course, also bed in the brake pad. So I'll probably explain how to do that later in the video. And a quick fast forward, after actually 3 hours of work, everything has been installed, and Raider even cleaned the windshield. Amazing. So Oli can do a nice test drive and validation. Quick question for people who would like to know, including myself, to make sure that I do it properly. How do you bed in the brakes after installing the new pads? What's the recommended procedure?
So normally you get temperature on the brake pads. So you begin softly with low speed and low pressure for the brake pedal, and then you get higher and higher. So I think after 5 brakes you can go very hard. So 80% of the brake pedal, no ABS.
So you just gradually increase the brake pressure for about like 5 times or so, and then we take it out on track, of course, and finalize the braking in. So you should not be like dragging the brakes while you're driving for like 1 kilometer long, but just like brake till you come to a stop. But you start with a slow pressure till a stop, then higher and higher. And that should be sufficient. Obviously, otherwise we will be doing it for like days and days, so that's not gonna work. So there, that's enough. All right, well, enjoy the test drive, and I will see you in a bit. This is, I think, the first time I'm seeing my own car drive off. Yeah, at least in its current spec. Quite always an interesting feeling. while Ollie's gone to do the test drive and bedding in, I'm gonna not only say goodbye, but also look what we have here. Here's another GR86 on the same wheels that I'm having, and you can see it's actually running endless brake pads, so significantly more expensive, but also longer durability for sure and better brake performance. Different tires, because this is Yokohama, so I'll be having AR1s on my car, but the same spec. Most importantly, this car of course also has a fully adjustable suspension, so the stance is amazing. So it's kind of a preview of how my or to be yours GR86 is going to look like. So make sure again to check out the link, register there, check the email that you're going to receive, and follow the instructions. And I'm looking forward to sharing the journey with the car, and also that with other projects that we'll be developing. And finally, of course, most importantly, mandatory thank you to Charoudin Motorsport for making these upgrades happen on such a quick, short term. And yeah, if you guys want to have your car set up or have some upgrades installed, or God forbid you have some emergency on the Nordschleife, these guys are here every single day and are there for you to help you out, whether you need it or whether because you would like it. So yeah, see you guys in tomorrow's video when we're gonna take it out for a lap, because right now the track is closed for the 24 hours qualifying, so we'll have to wait a couple of days. And yeah, see you then. And again, GR86 owners, let me know what your setups are of the stock alignment, whether it's something really concerning and people should have a look at and change. And for now, you have the values that we have installed in the car. And after the following video, when you see if I'm satisfied with them, but I'm pretty sure I will be, you can actually use it with your own local alignment center, or better, of course, come to Charoudin Motorsport. Anyway, that's it, and thanks for watching, and see you then. Bye-bye.